Okay, this is a V-neck with a facing, and we're going to learn how to do what we call understitching. So this is our body, and this is our facing. I'm going to place the facing right on top. Now, the first thing that I want to do is, it's real important that we get this V shape perfect. So we're going to, the seam is going to be 1/4 inch. The rule is anytime you add a facing to the body of the garment, the seam allowance is 1/4. So we're going to draw just a 1/4 little section right here. We're going to make a little intersection. Okay, so I'm lined the ruler up, so I'm drawing a 1/4 in this way and a 1/4 in this way. So I have this little intersection right here. Okay. Now we're going to start at the top, and we're going to sew a 1/4 seam. So I'm going to sew forward and then back tack. Okay, I want to make sure that my raw edges are lined right up on top of each other. Keep them even. And when I get to that intersection, that little point right there, I'm going to stop. So I'm going to do a stitch by hand to make sure I'm getting there. And then my needle is down. I'm going to lift the presser foot up, and then I'm going to turn. Now I'm going to start sewing back up. So again, I'm going to lay the 2 pieces right on top of each other and start sewing my 1/4 seam again. Okay, and then back tack. All right, now we're going to clip. So when you clip in, you're going to clip in as close as you can get to the thread without cutting the thread. If you accidentally cut your stitch, don't worry about it. Just go back and stitch it again. Okay? All right, so once we've got that clipped, it's the only way we're going to be able to turn this right side up. We're going to do the understitching. We're going to lay, so what I did here is I'm opening up the facing. So as you can see, the facing and the body are not on top of each other anymore. Okay, I want to make sure that that's nice and flat. And then I'm going to do an edge stitch. So the edge stitch, I'm turning the seam allowance so it's on top of the facing. And then I'm going to edge stitch right here, right next to the original stitch. So this time, my stitch right here is going to be just underneath this leg of the presser foot on this side. And then I'm going to stitch right here. So you'll be able to see the 2 different colors of thread. You'll know that my top stitch, my edge stitching is going to be the black thread. So as you can see how close that is. I want to make sure that these are flat. I don't have any tucks. Okay, when I get down to the end here, I'm going to stop and I'm going to just clip these threads. Okay, and then I'm going to readjust. So I'm going to now, again, open up the facing and the body, and then again, fold the seam allowance so it's on top of the facing. I'm going to start right here on the edge again. And I'm going to start sewing, keeping that flat, and sewing my edge stitch. Okay, I'm going to sew all the way up to the top. Now, you don't have to back tack when you're doing the understitching. I'm going to clip the threads. Okay, so now when I go to flip this over, you'll notice that the edge stitch here is on the inside. Now what this does is it helps the facing roll over on into the inside of the body. So this is the outside of the body. So as you can see now, I don't see any top stitching, no seam, anything. It's nice and clean. Because I clipped really close, I have that nice sharp point, and that's what you want. Okay, when you're finished, what you'll do is you'll just go to the iron and press this nice and flat. So this is the inside of your body, and this is the outside. Now, facings are all over your garments. Facings help hold the shape of a garment. A lot of times we'll use fusing in the facings, and when you start sewing your shirt for industry sewing and your dress for apparel process 1, we're going to show you how to do the fusing. So that helps hold the shape of a garment.